Good morning, it's Karen, and this is my July wrap up. Filming this a little bit later because I was on vacation at the lake, and you'll see some of that footage a little bit later. But I wanted to get up my garden vlog before then, so I've kind of swapped where they are in their ordering. July was an amazing month. I read so much. I think I read 9 books and DNF'd another one at 50%. So I was on fire. Let's go chronologically because, it's a little messy, but we'll do that anyway. At the beginning of the month, I finished the next Veronica Speedwell series, almost said Veronica Mars, The Impossible Imposter. Now, this one has a fun premise where someone shows up at this manor and they had believed him to be dead, and he, surprise, wasn't. And Veronica knew him, so she and Stoker go prancing off to the countryside to this manor to go and prove and figure out who this man is and if he really is that person. This felt a little stale, I'm not gonna lie. It's the same kind of Veronica and Stoker banter, but there's some sort of stalling that's happening. There's no, like, the author just can't let them be happy and get together. They have to work through all of their issues, and it gets a little samey. So unfortunately, this one was only a 3-star for me, but I still will continue. The reappearance of Rachel Price. Now, I was on the Good Girls Guide to Murder train, like when it was coming out, because it is the podcast element that I love so much in a mystery. And this one was so well crafted that I said, yes, I will read another one by you, Holly. And this one, not quite the same magic. Now, I think I had the same issue that a lot of other readers did, was that in the Good Girls Guide to Murder, the main character is lovely. She's wonderful. She's rootable. She makes mistakes, but she fixes them, and we like her. She seems real. This character, shoot, what's her name now? I don't even remember what her name is. She is rather brusque. Brusque? I was going to put brusque and rude together. Brood. She is just a little, like, she's got a chip off her shoulder and she's got the armor on, so that allows her to be rude to other people without feeling like she's hurt them because she's been so hurt, so it's okay that she hurts other people. She's not a great character to read from, so that does make it a little bit more difficult to read. Now, this is a really interesting story. The main character's mother went missing when she was a baby, and now this man who's making a documentary wants to make a documentary about her mother and maybe try and find out some more information. It's been 16 years and they want to solve the mystery. This is wild. There are the typical reveals that make you go, oh, I didn't see that one coming. But there are also ones where you're just like, oh, okay, I could have guessed that one, right? I enjoyed it. I devoured it. So I'm going to say that's a win. This one I gave 3 stars. I do not remember who it was. I should have saved it, but I didn't. It was an Instagram reel of this man recommending this book. He's saying, if there's one classic that you read, you must read this one. This one's amazing. You have to read it. Okay. Found it in my library. Ooh, long wait list. It must be really good. It must be really popular. This is called A Month in the Country. This is a short little book. This is so quaint and so lovely. The premise is wonderful. It's about this man who's kind of looking for jobs. He's got a bit of a niche experience where he analyzes art, medieval art. He's a restorer. He's been tasked to restore this medieval mural on this wall of the church, and that's his job. So he arrives at this country place and he kind of meets all of the people there, and it's small and cozy and everybody knows each other. And there's another man there who is also exploring archaeological site and trying to figure stuff out there. So they become friends because they're kind of doing the same thing. This deals with some very difficult topics, like this is post World War One, and he's dealing with PTSD and trying to pick up where life left off. And it's about country and the community picking up and trying to be normal again. And this was all right. This is, I don't want to gender anything, but this is what I would call a boy book. Didn't, it felt very much like it was written by a man. There are some weird, icky bits where this man is lusting after a married woman. And from the woman's perspective, like she gives him no reason. She's trying to be friends with him. She's trying to welcome him in the community. And she's the pastor's wife, a pastor, priest, vicar, one of those. And he makes a move on her, and it's just like, why was this needed to be like, honestly, you could have taken that whole part out where he tries to make a pass at her. Wouldn't have changed the book at all. The book would have been fine. It still would have gotten the message across. We still would have felt the same things that he felt. We just didn't need it. It wasn't needed. So why is it in there? So would I recommend this to people? No. I absolutely wouldn't. No. It was lovely. It was okay. Like, whatever. This reminded me a lot of Green Gage Summer. And maybe it's just that idea of going to a very idyllic place and having your summer and your whole world sort of just change and transform and settle into something new. And there's also a little bit of underlying darkness there. I think that's why it reminded me of that. I would recommend Green Gage Summer over this one, though. Now, you might be wondering why I said this was such a good reading month, and that is because I have a secret vlog coming out. It is almost finished, and the books that I was reading for that one were incredible, and I cannot reveal them yet, so stay tuned for those. This one will be my first 5 stars that I talk about. I am on my science fiction hit kick, whatever, okay? This I pulled for my TBR jars, and I'm so happy that I did, and I'm so happy that I finally read this one. This I think I read at the most perfect time ever. Now, this is the cool book where it starts out as Babel 17. This is why I originally bought this book, because this one was highly recommended. So then on the flip side is Empire Star, which I kind of put off and put off. And the thing is that Empire Star is a very short book. It's a novella, I think we would term it. It's 92 pages of this book, and it's like 130 in paperback or whatever. This is a really cool story. Comet Joe, he's this sort of hillbilly. He's on this country planet. He's been tasked to bring this message to this Empire Star. So it's the poor farmer boy goes on big adventure and saves the world kind of start. So this has readings of being kind of pulpy. It is so readable. However, it is so literary, and I agree. There was someone who reviewed this one and said, Delaney is too smart for his own good. This is a brainy little novella. This is the best crafted, tiny story that I have ever read. It is incredible. This is what you would call a milieu story, wherein the main character goes on a series of events, an adventure, whatever. So Comet Joe has this message, then he needs to get to Empire Star, so he needs to get on a ship, and then he meets some people, and they go over to this other planet, and they go from that planet, and they go over here, and then they go over here, and over here, and over here, and things are slowly revealed. But not until the very last 2 chapters are our minds completely blown. It starts out very linear, and then it just goes like that. And then right at the very end, it comes together with maybe one thread still hanging. This is so well crafted. Would highly recommend, if you've read Babel 17 and you're looking for another Samuel Delany one to read this one. It's fantastic. You will be surprised at some of the themes. There is some underlying slavery questions. There is treatment of people who are farming for the masses. There's just so much. There is also a cute little animal companion in here, and it's a little like horned kitten or something. Like it's cute. I love it. Well done, Delaney. I'm not going to touch on this one very much because I have a whole dedicated vlog to this one. This is Little Fortified Stories. This is by my aunt. I will link the vlog below. This one was super duper fun. Midnight Feast by Lucy Foley. This is a 5 stars from me. Not many thrillery things get 5 stars from me. Now, could this be kind of trashy? Yeah, okay, sure, whatever, great. But it's good. This is like good thriller writing, and I love it. The Midnight Feast is about the opening day of this bougie resort meant to cater to rich people who are in the up and up, maybe social media influencers. And this is like rustic without being rustic. This is following, several, in typical Foley fashion, she is following several different characters, and we get slow reveals. I must say, one of the best characters to read from. She is, you don't want to root for her, but she is the most fascinating creature, and you just know there are people like this out there. And her name was Francesca, and she was the owner. She curates everything, and she constantly coaches herself to be at peace, and she's breathing, and she's working through meditations, and she's got anger that bubbles up, and then she quickly quells it back down, and she talks about her rocks and her stones and energy and vibes from people, and like that kind of woo-woo person, but like they take it a little bit too far. So she's really fascinating to read from. This other character is under the guise of, I think her name is Bella, and she is staying at this resort, but she's got ulterior motives, and we don't know what they are until later on in the story. So we know she feels out of place. We know she's not really meant to be there, but she's there anyway, and she's seeking something out. She's seeking information, and that was a really fun viewpoint to read from. This has a lot of commentary on the rich versus the, I don't want to say poor, but like regular people, of rich people coming into farming areas and kind of taking over and turning what's a quiet rural place into this bustling touristy location. So there's commentary on that. I don't know how I feel about the farming portrayal. I'm still kind of working through that one myself, because that would be the only thing that I really didn't love from this one. A lot of fun. And if you are looking for a summer or a book to lead you from summer into fall, I would highly recommend this one for just the pure fun of it all. Go into it and just enjoy the ride. This is, I want to say it's historical fiction, but it's not. It's historical nonfiction. It reads like fiction. This is done in a narrative style. This author has been on my radar. Oh, sorry. This is Rizzio. This is a very short novella. It's tiny. It's very readable. This is following Mary Queen of Scots and this coup that happened when her husband's men are trying to kind of take over and basically have her sign over her power and her rights to her husband. Her husband is a very slimy fellow. Like, this is historically there. De- Dudley, Darnley, I'll put it here. She is pregnant with his child, and he concocts this murder of her favorite advisor, Rizzio, who's Italian and he's kind of an outsider, and he's very much an intelligent friend to Mary. The husband concocts this horrible murder so that he can two birds with one stone, get rid of this man who is too close to his wife, quite honestly, and tries to do it in front of his wife so that she miscarries the baby. Like, it is horrific. And Denise Mina spares nothing. It is raw, it is personal, it is horrific to read, and she packs in so much punch with these. She's written several small ones, and I kind of want to read one of her murder mystery series now. She packs in so much, but it is so dark. And the thing that just puts you over the edge is that this happened. This really, truly happened. It's horrible. So I gave this one 4 stars. I didn't expect it to like hit me as much as it did, but it did. So 4 stars, bravo, well done. And the last book that I'm going to talk about today is Glory Be. This I came across because it is one of my favorite audiobook narrators, Bonnie Turpin. I've listened to a number of books by her. I think I listened to Born by Jeff Vandermeer, and I listened to Southern Woman's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I think that's the title. Those ones were also narrated by her. This one, wonderful. So this is about a woman, Glory, Glory Broussard, Louisiana. It's hot. It's like summertime, kind of leads into Halloweenish time. So it's basically this chunk of time that we're in right now. And this is a mystery of her best friend, who's a nun, gets murdered. And Glory is insistent that she was murdered. And she basically goes and solves the mystery. She is a snoopy woman, but she's got a little bit of an edge to her, okay? Glory's just like a little like, nobody's gonna give me anything and I'm not gonna take it. Like, you're not gonna get one past me. She is a super duper fun character to read from. I for sure will be reading the next book. Her daughter also is part of the kind of solving mystery. I'm not sure I liked her daughter as much. For some plot choice reasons that didn't really need to be in the book, but they're there, so whatever. She wasn't my favorite character to read from. Glory, 100%. Glory was fantastic. I have already put the next book on my TBR. This one was a great deal fun. 4 stars from me. Okay, so there are 7 books here. There are 2 books that I have not talked about, Secret Blog. And there is 1 book that I want to talk about after I say my goodbyes because it is a long rant. So, if you want to stay for the rant and the tea, or the coffee, if you will, stick around. Other than that, that was my July. It was a fantastic month. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Karen. I'm the Book Libronaut, and I explore all different types of books. We'll see you again soon. Bye. Okay, if you're sticking around for the rant, buckle up. Fool me once. This is a romance? Romance? Is it? Are we sure? I would argue this is almost like a satire romance underlying horror. I don't know how people could read this and be like, oh, this is so romantic, because it's not. Absolutely not. So this main character, she is a corporate girl boss. She is a feminist. No man gonna tell her what to do, which means she's just gonna be rude to every single man. And she is working for this company that's developing electric cars in Texas. And she wants to get this bill passed so that they can be ahead of the whole country and have electric cars on the road. But she's also got this motive because her company is making the electric cars, so they want business. Forgive me in advance for what I'm going to say, but this is the most American book. The most American. Now, to my American friends, I know not everybody's like this. I know. I know. Every single American that I have met has said, I'm so sorry. And I get it. I get it. Okay. But this book is like what we see on the news, and it is so frustrating. Okay. There is glorified drinking where this woman basically is just like taking shots like every other night until she's like blackout drunk. She talks about it like it's a badge of honor. She talks about it from her college years, and she's still doing it now, like late 20s, early 30s. Like, girl, grow up. I'm sorry, but grow up. And also just casual drug use. Like, and then there's the whole like feminist angle where she's just like, oh, I want to lift other women up. But then she's also a big old B to everybody under the guise of feminism, which is, I'm sorry, feminism is about equality. So, like, what about treating people equally? There are different definitions of feminism. I get it. I'm going to open a whole can of worms here, but, like, hear me out. Some people interpret feminism as man hate and hating every single man. Now, she has issues because her father cheated on her mother and then left her mother. And now every man is horrible, and she expects every single man to cheat on her. And every single man has cheated on her except for one. And of course, this man walks back into her life. She cheated on him, might I say, to try and counter her thought of him cheating on her. She cheats on him first, breaks his whole friggin' heart, and then this is like an enemies to lovers or like rekindled, whatever, like the tropey whatever thing. She has to end up working with this guy so that they can pass this bill. They're trying to get people in the Senate. I don't know, I'm not American, to agree to this bill to vote yes. So these two have to work together, even though they are enemies, even though she was such a total B to him and he's all like super handsome now. Like, ooh, I don't understand why this is. To me, this is a nightmare. Like, if somebody cheated on me, I would never want to rekindle that flame. Like, hello, love lost. He's got a girlfriend that he wants to marry, and she walks in, and I'm like, oh, God, no. There's a whole lot of no for me. A whole lot of no. Another very American thing. This was so political. I don't think it needed to be this political, but holy cow, was it ever. There were like casual barbs of like, oh, well, I guess you've come over to the red side now, and oh, you're on the blue side. Like, can we not be on the sides? Any sides? No sides. This is how we view Americans as like, you either are red or you are blue. You're only allowed to pick two, so you have to be one or the other. This was the most ridiculous. I couldn't finish it. I really couldn't. I was getting so angry because the level of cheating in this book. How is this okay? How is this okay to treat people like this? How is this romance? This is not romance. There's nothing romantic about being horrible to other people. And she thinks she's above it all because, like, oh, well, men just always are bound to cheat on women. No, they're not. Maybe the men that you keep ending up with because you keep picking poorly, but also like self-fulfilling prophecy here. Like, it baffles me that this is sold as a romance. It is not a romance. This is what I'm talking about. This is the horror of it all. And the satire, like it feels like satire. Like it doesn't feel real. It feels like stereotypical what our culture is bringing, what women are told to be. I think it's too simplistic. Here's the thing. Ashley Winston. I have read that Moon book, Darkness, Midnight, something about midnight. And I have also read In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. She is very aware of how she portrays things. She is really smart about her storytelling. And I think this is her having a poke at the romance genre. That's my theory, is that she wrote this to be marketed as romance, but it is not. It's the same thing as Midnight is the Darkest Hour. A lot of people interpret it as romantic, and a lot of people don't. And I think she crafts things intentionally like that to provoke the reader into actually having a conversation with yourself about, is this okay? And so, bravo, you elicited strong feelings in me, but I could not continue to listen to this. This was a DNF at 50%. I didn't wanna find out what happened, and I just, nope, no thank you. Not for me. And would not recommend it at all unless you are reading it with that lens of this is critiquing the romance genre. And Rant, thanks so much for coming. Thanks so much for staying. If you stayed to the end, give me a big old thumbs up in the comments below. Otherwise, we'll see you again next month for hopefully a less ranty experience. Bye.